Let's start with a big question. Have you ever wondered if selling out is always a good thing? It seems like it should be, right? But this is one of the most fundamental challenges in business. How do you balance the price you set with how much you sell to make the absolute most money possible? Today, we're going to dig deep into the real shape of revenue. And trust me, understanding this curve isn't just some boring academic exercise. It is the key to unlocking your company's maximum profit.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle a huge myth about sales volume. Then, we'll get into the elegant theory behind what we call the arc of revenue. After that, we'll apply it all to a real-world pricing puzzle from a resort. From there, we'll zero in on the manager's true strategic target, and we'll wrap up with a powerful rule you can start using right away. All right, let's kick things off with a classic struggle every single manager goes through: the temptation to sell more versus the cold, hard cash that actually ends up in the bank. I want you to really truly think about this for a second. We're all programmed to see a sold-out stadium, a restaurant with a line down the block, a fully booked hotel. We see that and we think success. But is it? Is filling every last seat or selling every last widget really the ultimate goal? Or is it possible to be incredibly busy, to be totally sold out, and actually be failing at your real job, which is to maximize your revenue?
Well, that question leads us to this fantastic old business saying that just nails it. Volume is vanity, profit is sanity. Seeing those big sales numbers, that's vanity. It feels good. It looks amazing in a report. But sanity? Sanity is what's left over after you've paid all your bills. And that simple idea is going to be our guiding light for this whole session.
So how do we get from vanity to sanity? We've got to pop the hood and look at the engine. And that brings us to the core theory here, the arc of revenue. Let's explore why your income doesn't just keep going up and up in a straight line the more you sell.
It all begins with one of the most basic laws in all of economics, the demand curve. The idea is incredibly simple, right? If you want to sell more of something, you generally have to lower the price. But don't let that simplicity fool you. This relationship is the whole reason we're even having this conversation. As the price drops, two things happen. New customers who couldn't afford it before can now buy it, and your existing customers might decide to buy more.
And because of that fundamental rule, your total revenue, which is just price times the quantity you sell, turns into this constant tug of war. See, as you lower your price, the quantity you sell goes up. At first, the extra sales you get more than make up for the lower price on each item, but that doesn't last forever. And this tension is what literally bends the revenue line. Economists have a fancy term for this sensitivity: price elasticity of demand.
This tug of war creates what we call the total revenue curve, and it looks like a perfect arc, like a rainbow. When you first start dropping prices, your total revenue climbs nicely because lots of new people are buying. We'd say demand is elastic. But eventually, you hit the very top of that arc. If you keep slashing prices past that peak, your total revenue actually starts to fall. Why? Because demand has become inelastic. The few extra customers you get just aren't enough to make up for the huge discount you're now giving everyone. That peak is your critical point of diminishing return.
Okay, theory is great, but let's make this real. Let's get our hands dirty with an actual case study from a resort, Tanjung Lesung, that was trying to figure out its pricing during a slow season.
All right, let's walk through these numbers together and really look at the manager's thought process. They started a premium price, 2 million rupiah. And what happens? Crickets. 0 rooms sold, 0 revenue. So the manager makes a change, cuts the price in half, down to 1 million. A pretty smart test. And look, they sell 10 rooms, bringing in 10 million in revenue. Not bad at all. But then that vanity starts to whisper. The manager thinks, wow, if that worked, imagine what a massive fire sale discount could do. So they get super aggressive, slashing the price all the way down to 100,000. And yeah, the hotel is hopping. They sold 50 rooms, 5 times more. But just look at the total revenue. It's crashed down to only 5 million. This number right here, 10 million rupiah, that's it. That was the peak of the arc in this scenario. This was the highest possible income they could have made with these options. This was their strategic target. This was the moment of maximum yield. So let's just let that sink in for a second. The vanity of being busy, of selling 50 rooms, it cost them half of their potential income. They worked 5 times harder, they cleaned 5 times more rooms, they served 5 times more guests, all for half the money. That, right there, is the vanity trap in action. The Tanjung Lesung case shows us exactly what happens when you get this wrong. So what's the right way to approach this? As a manager, your job isn't just to pick a price, it's to actively hunt for your strategic target.
And that target has a name, the point of maximum yield. It is the absolute summit of that revenue mountain. It's not about selling the most stuff. It is that perfect, beautiful balance of price and quantity that generates the most possible income. It's the bullseye.
So you can think of this arc as showing you the two main ways a manager can mess up. If your price is too high, you're on the left side of the peak. You're being too cautious, you've got empty rooms, and you're literally leaving money on the table. But if you're on the right side of that peak, you've made the Tanjin Lasung mistake. You've overtraded. You got so obsessed with volume that you discounted your way right into lower profit.
So how do we wrap all this up into a clear, actionable strategy? It really all comes down to knowing when to just stop.
Okay, so here's the big takeaway. A smart manager's job isn't to sell out. It's to find that revenue-maximizing sweet spot. You have to fight that urge, that vanity of chasing 100% occupancy if it's going to kill your profit. The most important skill you can have here is knowing exactly when to stop lowering the price, right at the top of that revenue curve. And finding this point isn't magic. It's about testing, measuring, and really understanding how your customers react to price changes.
And so, I'll leave you with a question to take back to your own world. Doesn't matter if you're selling software or consulting hours or coffee. That revenue arc exists for your business too. So where's your peak? At what exact point does chasing one more sale or offering one more discount actually start costing you money? Finding that answer, well, that's the difference between vanity and sanity.